Okay. So just some like quick background information. So how long you're at Ball and Dodd now? How long have you been in the funeral business?
So I have been in the funeral industry for about 10 years, and I started in Dallas, Texas. I've also worked in Oregon, both the Portland area and Southern Oregon area. I've been in Spokane now for about 2.5 years, and I actually manage Ball and Dodd Funeral Home, Hazen and Jaeger Valley Funeral Home, and Thornhill Valley Chapel.
Oh, wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So Ball and Dodd Valley Chapel.
So Ball and Dodd Funeral Home, which is on West Wellesley, Hazen and Jaeger Valley Funeral Home, and Thornhill Valley Chapel is in Spokane Valley.
Okay. So since you've had 10 years experience, how has this year differed from other years as far as, I know there's probably a lot, but how it's different from previous years and what you've seen personally?
I mean, what has happened to the funeral industry has been changes in leaps and bounds. When the pandemic first started spreading, word started spreading, there was a lot of fear. Regulations were changing on sometimes a daily or weekly basis. As far as what a funeral home was allowed to, what a funeral would look like, or a memorial service. There was times when we were not allowed to have funerals at all. There were times that we could have 10 people in our buildings, and currently today we are only allowed to have 30 people at a funeral service, and that's whether it's indoors or outdoors. It doesn't matter the size of the facility or capacity, and it's really challenging. My employees and myself have had a very difficult time helping families. It's very hard to tell families that no, you can't have a gathering to celebrate your loved one's life or to say goodbye. And many of these families have not been able to be with their loved ones while they were dying. They are not able to go into nursing homes. They're not able to go to the hospitals, and it's devastating. We have had families that after their loved one passed away, we will hold a visitation for a small amount of family members. And we've had people in our buildings crying, just saying they haven't seen their mom in over 5 months. And this is the first time that they're seeing her. It's heartbreaking.
Definitely. So being in the funeral business, like part of your job is helping people grieve. Mm-hmm. And just like, what kind of emotional toll is this taking on you that you can't help these people grieve in the way that they want to, So
I have a really wonderful group of people that I work with, and we have done our very best to be creative and to tell families not only what the regulations are, but some of the creative ways that we can still celebrate their loved one's life. We are live streaming services. We are creating family slideshows and then sending those on USB drives to different family members, so that they can all feel like they have those memories together. Anything that we can do, we will make happen. And so we have that's the best that we can do. But it does take a toll, because our funeral directors are here to care for people and to guide them through a difficult time. And in most cases, we are literally holding people's hands and a literal shoulder to cry on. And now we, can't hug people. And those things are sad. There's a loss of personal connection that people desire.
Definitely. So as far as like, would you say you are busier this year than you've ever been, or how would you compare this year to other years besides all the like different things we have to do now?
So as far as what we see in a business perspective, yes, we have seen some increase in deaths and families that we care for. Does it necessarily seem busier to us? No, because we're so limited on the amount of services that we are able to provide to families. So we are here, we're working 24 hours a day, 365 days out of the year, to help families. We go to hospitals, we go to nursing homes, we walk into people's homes. We are not afraid of COVID-19. Our people are prepared. We use proper PPE, and our staff has stayed safe and healthy. And I think that there has been quite a bit of stigma that some families have communicated with us, even telling their friends and family that their loved one died with COVID-19, whether it was of COVID-19 or with COVID-19. And there's been a negative stigma to that.
So is there anything people should know about, like, having a funeral that you think most people don't know, or like what the regulations are that maybe would...
So I literally just got an email. I think I told you on the phone that I receive emails sometimes multiple times a day on how regulations may be changing and things like that. So I recently got one before this interview that I haven't been able to look at in depth, but it appears that there may be some changes to the regulation on outdoor services and having receptions, which is a part of funeral service as well. So it looks like that might be changing here shortly. So that's exciting for us. Right now, the rules are 30 people in an indoor service. Our funeral homes are doing whatever we can to make that happen, and to include as many family members as possible and friends in whatever way we can. So I think that that's something important to know. Additionally, there has been, I think, some additional dialogue happening about people getting their funeral arrangements put in place in advance. And knowing how quickly, this has really shown how quickly someone who is just living their life can get a diagnosis and things can change rapidly. A health diagnosis of any kind can change your world rapidly. And so we are meeting with families to help them make those arrangements in advance to have that security. And we're doing that in person if people want. In our facilities, we go to people's homes if they're comfortable with us coming, but we are also working on a virtual platform where we're able to make those arrangements and meet with people and family members that are far away from each other to help get those discussions happening, because it is really important, as we've seen this year with somebody feeling ill and going into the hospital, and then their family doesn't see them for weeks or maybe months, and maybe they never get to see them in person again. When somebody passes away, their family is looking for their advice on what to do for a funeral, and the only thing that you can do is plan in advance and leave a written record. And so we encourage people to do that. And we meet with people and whatever platform that they feel comfortable to help get those arrangements in place.
Right. Oh, and as far as like you said, you don't feel busier than you were before because you can't do as many things as we did before. So if we could have funeral services, you guys very well could be overwhelmed. Is that fair to say?
I would not say that we would be
Okay.
overwhelmed.
Okay.
We have a great staff of people, and with having the multiple businesses, we have lots of licensed and well-trained people. We work as a team and to create seamless funerals. And we have been much busier than this, and we take care of families. So,
Sure.
yeah. So I would not say that we would be overwhelmed.
Okay. That's fair. And just one more question about you. So what made you want to get into the funeral business?
I have a very caring spirit. And so I knew that I could take care of people and give them guidance at a really difficult time. And I fell in love with the industry when I started looking into it. I ended up going to Dallas Institute of Funeral Service and graduating from there, fell in love with the industry, and it's really taken off. And now I am able to influence and guide new funeral directors. And it's a really wonderful, fulfilling career where you're basically, we do work for a paycheck in order to take care of our families, but this is a career where you get an emotional paycheck, and every day that I go home, I know that I made a difference, a positive difference in somebody's life.
Well, that's wonderful. I definitely think it takes a very special person to do what you do every day. So, well, thank you so much for talking to me. Is there anything else you think people should know about what's going on right now? Any more advice that you'd like to offer to anybody?
No, I really think that people need to just I'm not going to say anything else. I think that this is just such a weird time to be alive and to be going through life. And I just hope that people can be kind and understanding that we're all dealing with an enormous amount of stress.